Hey guys, I just want to go over quickly the process of revising your thesis statement because that's going to be something that you are working on kind of throughout today and tomorrow. So you will see on the slides today that it encourages you to channel your inner 4-year-old because 4-year-olds and little kids in general ask millions of questions all the time, as you may or may not know. So the way to get at a good thesis statement and to get to anything that's deep thought really is by asking lots of questions. So we're going to focus on asking the questions how and why in order to take your, I'm sure, perfectly good thesis statement and make it a little bit better. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this process and give you an example of what this will look like. This example has absolutely nothing to do with anything that we have read about in class, so don't feel like you're like, wait, where did Frankenstein come into play? It doesn't. This is just an example. So you can see this is like a fake conversation between two people. So the thesis writer came into class and had this original thesis statement. Frankenstein's monster shows the effect of society on personality. That's a good thesis statement. I mean, it doesn't have necessarily the roadmap part, maybe you noticed, but it's still a complex thought, okay? But this person came in and they're going to practice the 4-year-old questioning technique with a partner. So the questioner is the partner, that's the person in orange. And you'll notice the person in orange just kind of repetitively asks how, why, and makes the partner like clarify and specify. So my original thesis is that Frankenstein's monster shows the effect of society on personality. The questioner asks, how did society affect Frankenstein's monster's personality? It made him angry and murderous. How did it make him angry and murderous? It treated him badly and made him want to treat others badly. Why did it treat him badly? Is our partner. Answer, because he was ugly. Why did they treat him badly? Because he was ugly. Because society tends to reject things and people who are different and they don't understand. Why did that make him angry and murderous? Because we learn how to treat people by how we are treated. So if you heard and look at the questioner just as asking like how, why, which is annoying. It's like a 4-year-old, but it's good because it's getting the thesis statement to kind of dig into what is the actual concept in a more specific way. So from that original thesis statement that Frankenstein's monster shows the effect of society on personality, 20 questions later, that person may have ended up with the development of Frankenstein's monster into a murderous, angry creature, which came from the questioning, shows how society's tendency to reject what it does not understand, which also came from the questioning, can ironically lead to creating the very monsters we fear. So they went from this basic concept, which isn't basic. Again, like that was a great statement. They really dug in and kind of got into more of like the nitty gritty and the specifics. So I wanted to show you what this might look like for, in our case, a thesis statement based on a theme in a text. So we obviously read the text, Ruthless. Yesterday, we kind of walked through what a thesis statement would look like for that. So I wrote, and this is a claim, I should say, not the theme of Ruthless, but kind of same process. So you're always going to start with the title and author. In the short story Ruthless by William DeMille, here's our claim. The reader can infer that Judson is the one who drinks the whiskey, roadmap through the characters' personalities and the ironic plot twist at the end. So I'm going to kind of try to play both 4-year-old and thesis statement writer. So here's my thesis statement. I'm going to read it one more time. So the reader can infer that Judson's the one who drinks the whiskey through the characters' personalities and the ironic plot twist at the end. So I might say, I don't know, why do you think Judson's the one who drinks the whiskey? I think Judson's the one who drinks the whiskey because he seems like a miserable person. Why does he seem like a miserable person? Well, he makes such a strong decision about justice based on the smallest of things, like somebody drank his liquor. That's a really petty thing to decide that somebody deserves to die for. So he kind of seems like a miserable person for that. Why would he be a miserable person? Perhaps he had a bad experience growing up, because I can make the assumption that he's a miserable person in every aspect of his life. So maybe that's due to something um, from his past. How can past experiences make somebody become a miserable person? Well, when people go through trauma or hard situations, sometimes they will internalize that and then it will change their personalities. I don't know. So we could keep going. That maybe got off on a weird tangent, but that's the process. So rather than what I started with on the slide here, maybe I might end up with something like, I'm going to start the same. So in the short story, in the short story, Ruthless, which goes in quotation marks, by the way, because it's a short story by William DeMille, the reader can infer that Judson is the one who drinks, I'm going to say, his own whiskey. Gosh, I cannot type. His own whiskey. And I might say, like, unknowably to himself, because he does so in a drunken state due to the maybe suggested traumas he has internalized that have shaped his behavior. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so is that perfect at all? No, but do you see how it's just getting more specific, really mostly about the roadmap part? So I dug a little bit more into like that he drinks his own whiskey, that it's unknowable to himself, the reason he might do that. So that kind of digs into the personality thing, and I would have to support that, those inferences that I made with evidence from the text, but it got me way more specific. Okay, so you guys are going to, today on our document, you're going to have this same slide. I'm going to delete mine. In fact, I will do that right now. And you're going to copy over your initial thesis statement for the last night of the world. That's going to go there. And then I want you to try to find, it might be somebody else in our class, or it might be a parent, or it might be somebody that is in my class at school that you can partner up with. And I want you to kind of explain to that person what they need to do. And really you can just simplify it by saying you're going to just repeatedly ask me how and why questions. They don't need to know anything about the text. You're going to answer them, and then those specifics that you get through that conversation, that's going to lead you towards a revised thesis statement. So you have today, and you'll turn that in tomorrow. That's really important because your thesis statement, remember, will guide you throughout the rest of your paper. So if you can get as specific as possible to really get into like, what are you actually focusing on in your paper? What can you dig into? That's going to be very helpful. So that is the 4-year-old questioning technique. Again, it's just asking how and why repeatedly to get you to dig in a little bit more into exactly what you're saying. So start with your original thesis statement, partner up with somebody, have them ask you how and why repeatedly until you get to something a little bit more precise, complex, and advanced. Good luck, you guys.